Dan, are we all set? All right, good evening, everyone. The time is now 7:02 p.m., and the date is January 5th, 2026, and we are here for a regularly scheduled Town Council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, and before we get started, I want to wish you all a very happy new year. And I just want to thank you all again going into the new year for your partnership and your collaboration. And I would like to ask that we continue this collaboration going into 2026. Please reach out to any town council member or to the town manager directly with any of your questions, thoughts, or feedback. And we would love to work with you. So with that, we have a very exciting evening planned because the first item on the agenda is our recognition of the recipients of the Knights of the Rockingham Arch. So I'm going to move down to you all, and I will continue this in just a moment. All right, I hope you can all hear me online, if not here in the town chambers. Once a year, all right, there we go. So once a year, different members of the Knights of the Rockingham Arch delegation, which consists of our Director of the Parks and Recreation, our chair of the Democratic Town Committee, our chair of the Republican Town Committee, a representative from the Town Council, and our esteemed town clerk. We meet together and we discuss individuals within the Narragansett community who have served in many shapes and forms and who are deserving of a prestigious recognition as a Knight of the Rockingham Arch. And the plaques are still in the mail. It seems like supply chain issues are never-ending in every facet. So we will have those mailed to you, but we do have your certificates as well this evening. Thank you, Councilor Torialde. So the first, and I do want to add that the delegation had the opportunity to nominate potentially up to, I think it's 7 individuals, but after a thorough review, and it was very competitive, we decided to recognize 4 individuals this year. So the first, and I will read the speeches that we've put together. The first individual we would like to recognize is Tom Hoagland. Tom serves as the president of the Friends of Connaughton Farm, a role he has held for several years with unwavering commitment. He works diligently on behalf of the organization, routinely volunteering his time throughout the Connaughton Farm Trail system. In the past several years, Tom has accumulated over 500 hours annually, making him one of the town of Narragansett's most engaged volunteers. Tom organizes and leads volunteer groups in clearing overgrown trail sections, removing invasive plant species, creating and installing new trails, and repairing areas in need of maintenance. His leadership has been instrumental in the restoration of the lakes through invasive mitigation, stone walls along the western side of the trail, and he continues to work closely with numerous partners to enhance the overall health and appearance of the property. One of Tom's upcoming and most cherished initiatives is the development of the Three Sisters Garden near the Upper Meadow. He has been collaborating with a local indigenous masonry company on the construction of the garden's perimeter, and preparations are already well underway. As part of this effort, Tom recently introduced goats to the property to aid in the removal of invasive species, a creative and effective approach to land stewardship. Tom's dedication to the Canachet Farm Trail system is unmatched. Though a very private individual who prefers to avoid the spotlight, he finds true joy in the woods and is an avid hiker himself. His deep respect for the land fuels his ongoing efforts to secure funding from a variety of sources for both current and future projects. He is also a key contributor to the organization's grant writing efforts, consistently pursuing opportunities that support the mission of the Friends of Canachet Farm. These efforts have resulted in a bare minimum of support from the town, occasionally calling on the Parks and Recreation or DPW to remove downed trees and other support. No financial support has ever been requested from the town council. Without Tom's steadfast leadership, Friends of Canachet Farm would face significant challenges in combating invasive species and maintaining the integrity of its trails and natural features. His commitment, service, and quiet generosity make him not only a vital asset to the Friends of Canachet Farm, but also an invaluable member of the Narragansett community. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Tom Hoagland as a Knight of the Rockingham Arch.
Thank you very much.
And you'll have your plaque sent to me.
Thank you. I can't wait for the plaque.
Thank you. So the next individual we would like to recognize is Miss Lori Kelly. Tonight we gather to recognize a person whose dedication, leadership, and vision have left a lasting mark on our town. It is my great honor to acknowledge Lori Kelly, a recipient of the Knights of the Rockingham Arch Award, for her extraordinary service to the town of Narragansett. Lori Kelly is the embodiment of community leadership. For many years, she served as chair of the Narragansett Library Board of Trustees, where her commitment went far beyond routine governance. Lori was instrumental in organizing, championing, and leading the effort to create a new public library for Narragansett, a space that now stands as a symbol of learning, opportunity, and community connection. As a library board member, Lori gathered expertise from architects, engineers, and professional construction specialists to guide the project from concept to completion. She also worked closely with the state of Rhode Island to ensure the town received a critical 50% reimbursement for library construction, demonstrating both fiscal responsibility and effective leadership. In partnership with the Friends of the Narragansett Library, she helped secure nonprofit support that strengthened funding and community involvement. Lori's dedication to public service extends beyond the library. She demonstrated initiative and commitment by running for town council and dedicating her time to serving residents. Her leadership reflects a deep belief in giving back and making Narragansett a better place for all. In addition, Lori is a local business owner of the Narragansett Casino, a valued gathering place that brings families and residents together for entertainment and community connection. Her impact has been recognized statewide as well. In 2019, the Rhode Island Library Association named Lori Trustee of the Year, honoring her advocacy for literacy, learning, and access to quality resources. Lori is also a devoted mother of 3 children, and it is clear that the values she lives by, service, commitment, and generosity, extend into every part of her life. Tonight, as we present the Knights of the Rockingham Arch Award, we celebrate not only Lori Kelly's accomplishments, but the spirit of service she represents. Narragansett is a stronger, more connected, and more vibrant community because of her. Please join me in congratulating and thanking Lori Kelly for her remarkable service and well-earned honor.
Too kind. Thank you so much.
So welcome. And your congratulations.
Thank you.
Your plaque will be in the mail as well. Thank you. Our third individual we would like to recognize is Mr. Michael Riley. Tonight we recognize Mike Riley for the kind of civic service that doesn't always come with a title, but always leaves a mark. Michael was known in our community as someone who paid attention, spoke up, and followed through. As a Narragansett business owner, he didn't just offer opinions from the sidelines. He showed up, participated, and pushed for practical solutions that helped the town work better. In public meetings, including the Economic Development Commission, Michael raised real concerns from the impact of dilapidated properties to the importance of making sure local stakeholders actually heard about and could access the grants and programs meant to improve our community. That was what engaged citizenship looked like to him. Not just identifying problems, but insisting we use the tools available to fix them. He also showed a consistent commitment to the institutions that makes Narragansett feel like home. Michael was an advocate for the Maury Lunchin's Memorial Library, supporting stable funding and a long-term plan that reflected how central the library was to residents of every age. Beyond any single issue, what stood out most was Michael's steadiness. He showed up, he did the homework, and he cared enough to keep showing up again. He was also active in Rhode Island's broader civic and public policy circles, bringing the same persistence and independence of thought that he brought to local matters. The Knights of the Rockingham Arch existed to honor people whose service strengthened the fabric of Narragansett year after year. Michael Riley did exactly that. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Michael Riley as a Knight of the Rockingham Arch. And I think we have a family who'd accept on his behalf. You're very welcome. And lastly, but certainly not least, we would like to recognize Mr. Richard Vangermeersch. We are honored to recognize Richard as a recipient of the Knights of the Rockingham Arch Award, celebrating his exceptional contributions to preserving and strengthening our understanding of town history here in Narragansett. Richard was born and raised in Providence and made Narragansett his home in 1971. Since that time, he has become one of the town's most dedicated historians and advocates for understanding our shared past. His long and meaningful association with the Narragansett Historical Society reflects a deep commitment to preserving the stories, records, and milestones that define our community. Richard is also an accomplished author. Contributing to nearly 200 texts, his work has become an essential resource for residents, educators, and researchers. Among his many writings is the Chronology of Narragansett History, a detailed and thoughtfully updated account of the town's development. Through careful research and clear storytelling, Richard has helped ensure that Narragansett history is not lost, forgotten, or oversimplified. In November 2022, Richard further demonstrated his passion for local history by presenting a well-received talk on the historic split between Narragansett and its parent town of South Kingstown. This presentation helped clarify an important chapter in our past and reinforced the importance of understanding how Narragansett emerged as the town we know today. As a longtime resident and community historian, Richard's work anchors Narragansett's identity, giving both longtime residents and newcomers a deep appreciation of where the town came from and how it evolved over time. He has been a consistent advocate for recognizing significant dates and encouraging the community to learn more about its heritage. Beyond his historical contributions, Richard served on the Canachet Farm Review Committee, where he helped propose a loop trail system for the entire farm, supported wetland surveys, and promoted selective tree clearing and the extensive removal of invasive plants. Through scholarship, service, and stewardship, Richard has enriched Narragansett in lasting ways. Please join me in thanking him for his dedication and proudly honoring him long overdue with this well-deserved award. And once again, let's just give one more round of applause for our Knights of the Rockingham Arch recipients. Excellent. So now we'll just take a 30-second recess while we clear the room if anyone wants to depart.
30 seconds, can I go to the bathroom?
All right. Next item on the agenda is our town manager's update. Jim? Oh, Dan, are we still going? All right, thank you. So pass it off to you, Jim.
Good evening, members of the council, those who are here this evening and those who are watching from home. Just a few updates for the week. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the recipients of the Knights of the Rockingham Arch for their awards. Richard, can I still sit next to you at breakfast now that you've got this award? And I'd like to wish the town council, our staff, and the community in Narragansett a healthy, happy, and a civil 2026. The 26-27 budget, Finance Director Chris Wilson and I continue to review the budget request of our other department directors and have commenced meetings with each of the department heads to go line by line for round one. The FEMA-funded South Beach wall repair is moving along quite well. We expect it to be completed within a month, and we're happy about that. The RFQ for the real estate brokerage services for the old library. The town issued an RFQ at the direction of the council, and we received one response to the RFQ. I reviewed it today, and it meets the requirements that were listed in the RFQ, and I'll be forwarding the document to the town council for consideration to approve or reject at the next town council meeting. And that is about it. The Narrow River dredging, people have been asking, but if you stick around and listen, this will be discussed later as a component of the regular meeting and the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Jim?
How's our new firehouse doing?
Could we just get that on the microphone?
Sure. The Station 2 project for the fire department that was funded from American Rescue Plan Act and through the Public Safety Infrastructure Grants we should be moving in there, according to the chief, within a few weeks.
Excellent.
It really looks nice.
It does. It looks nice.
Excellent. Thank you.
And when it's ready, any of you want to set up a tour, let us know, or do anything else with
Before
it.
it gets filled up.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is our open forum public comment section. Jim, do you happen to, is there any list?
There's no list.
There's no list. Okay. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to speak? Yes, Ms. Celebrato. And the comments of citizens addressing the council are neither adopted nor endorsed by the body, but heard as requested. Public comment will not be taken on matters involving open litigation. Each speaker will be allocated 3 minutes, and please speak respectfully and orderly. Good evening.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. That $3 million housing bond, I just want to comment that I think that when people voted for it, they really believed that the whole amount was going to be used to construct affordable housing. I don't think any of them thought that money was going to be used to give out loans so people could, have new roofs or whatever. And you were the trust was talking about $500,000 of that $3 million. That's a big chunk of money. And I want to remind you that if you bond that money out, that $3 million, it will cost us $6,750,000. So for every $25,000 roof, it's actually costing $50,000. I understand why, they've come up with different ideas, but bottom line is we only have $3 million, and it's expensive to construct buildings now, and if we start frittering away, with loans to put roofs on or subsidizing people's rentals, forget that. I'm not going to subsidize somebody's investment. Forget it. We're not going to have that $3 million that we need. And as far as that's concerned, that we have to borrow that $3 million from ourselves. We have to borrow it from our reserves or something. We can't bond that money out. Like I said, it'll be double. The bonding council said it would be double, and we don't want to do that. I think that we should be down at the State House trying to get some of that big chunk of money that the taxpayers agreed to, for affordable housing was $100-something million. It's quite a bit of money anyway. I don't know why our reps aren't down there trying to get a piece of that action. We're going to be funding all of this ourselves from the taxes. I think it's naive to think that we're going to get 80 cents from every $1.90 conveyance tax. I'm positive that the department directors already have their eyes on part of that money, okay? But let me tell you how you can increase annual rentals in this town. Set a finite number of short-term rentals that are allowed, just like the last town council did, and set a finite number of student rentals that are allowed. You have to have a lottery, but what are you going to do? So, and the ones that don't win the lottery, guess what? They're going to rent their houses annually, or they're going to sell. That's how you will have annual rentals flooding the market if you do something like that. It takes a lot of initiative, takes some big you-know-whats, and the question is, are you going to do that? Are you going to really think out of the box instead of like loans and trying to get money from conveyance taxes, and it's just a juggling of things, Thank you.
Thank you. I think I saw a hand. Yes. It's easier to see you all this evening.
Rosemary Smith, Castle Road. I wanted to take the opportunity to welcome you to a speaker series that'll start at the library. This is the 13th year of the On Pettaquamsket Winter Speaker Series, and it deals with presentations on the environment and the history of the Narrow River watershed. It is at the Narragansett Library. It starts at 1 o'clock, and the first speaker will be January 25th. Speakers, I should say, Narrow River Preservation Association's board members Jim Vogel and Craig Woods will discuss dredging the mouth of the estuary, history, current conditions, future plans, and it's also a topic of concern of yours on the agenda for tonight. That's on January 18th at 1 o'clock. On February 22nd at 1, Dr. Tom Mathers of URI, is also known as the tick guy, will be making a presentation talking about how to protect yourself from ticks, which are around all year. And then on March 29th at 1 o'clock, the South County Museum Executive Director, Rebecca Kelly, will present Treasured Possessions, Objects from the Museum Collection. Registration for these three events starts the week before the event. You should also know this is a collaboration between the Friends of Conacha Farm, Narrow River Preservation Association, South County Museum, and the Maury Luchin Memorial Library. All talks are free. They're open to the public, and we usually run between 60 and 70 people on a Sunday afternoon at the library, so they're very well attended, and I would highly suggest registering the week in advance. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Would you mind just answering a real quick question? How would interested members of the public go about registering?
So you just go to the library website, and it's to their calendar, and you can register, like all the events at the library, 1 week in advance.
Excellent.
Okay?
And it's free to the public.
It's free.
And then they cap it if it gets to a certain number.
Right, that's what they have to do, fire law.
Fire
and-
code.
yeah, sure.
Yep.
Okay?
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right. So next is our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda items B1, B2, and B3?
Motion to approve B1 through B3.
Second.
Who wants to take credit for the second? Councilor Torrealde.
All right.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to the new business from the town council. Is item C1, is there a motion to review and discuss the latest status of the Narrow River dredging project?
Motion to review and discuss.
Second.
Discussion. So this is an item that Councilor Durkin and I co-sponsored because there were a lot of different projects and discussions going into the term that, in a lot that we could easily have bit off than we could chew. So we thought it would benefit all of us as well as residents to hear what the latest updates are from the town side. And to offer the opportunity for anyone in attendance who wanted to ask a question to be able to do so. So I really appreciate the partnership here, Jim, and I'll pass it off to you to provide us with some updates.
Thank you. As you know, this has been discussed by several councils, many residents over the years, and it's been I think this is the farthest we've carried the ball so far since this has surfaced years ago about the potential dredging for the Narrow River, which is quite popular with recreational boaters and people who enjoy the shore. The typical length of time for the permit for dredging approval is about 6 to 8 months. That's with perfect timing. And the Army Corps of Engineers is the one that takes the longest to approve it. The only time that we're allowed to do the dredging would be from October 15th to January 31st. And we cannot commence to do any dredging until such time as the permits are finalized and in our hands. The Army Corps of Engineers and Coastal Resources Management permit applications were submitted in June 4th of last year, 6/4/25. And DEM permit application was submitted on 6/18 of 25. The public notice for public comments on the project were published on July 1st of 25, and CRMC subsequently provided those comments to the town, and we provided them to Fourth Engineering, our engineer that's working on the project, on August 5th. The town staff met with the engineering firm in September to discuss the public comments, and then subsequent to that, another meeting was held with CRMC, also in September, to review the proposed dredge plan and discuss the concerns that surfaced from CRMC. And we would respond to those. Back in mid-September, CRMC sent a letter to the town with formal comments and a request for 2 specific items, water level monitoring and planting plans for coastal areas. Both take a while to do. Fourth responded to the town with the planting plan for the dredging project in late November of 2025. And in mid-December, they responded with the water level monitoring plan. The town submitted all that information just today, actually, because the town engineer had the response prepared, but wanted to wait for me to return from vacation so I could review it and sign off on it before we submitted it. Some other items that may have slowed it down somewhat was the government shutdown. God bless you. The Army Corps of Engineers usually has a very good, very responsive, but during that period of the shutdown, they were managing a large backlog of work, they informed us. Fourth Engineering has told us that U.S. Fish and Wildlife is the last review they're waiting on, and that the Army Corps will be updating the assignment to another project manager within the Wildlife Service, since their workload is trying to be distributed more evenly among their staff. Our project is on their list as one that was submitted prior to the government shutdown, so it should be, we're informed, of a higher in the queue than those that come in during the shutdown or after the shutdown. And that is the timeline update and what's been done, but we are getting closer to the finish line. And one of the items that will, once the permit is issued, an RFP will be issued, once the final permit is issued saying exactly what it is that we're allowed to do, an RFP will go out for vendors who are interested in performing the dredging work. Once that response comes back, probably published about 30 days, give the respondents that about 30 days to respond, and then we would evaluate them with the help of the engineering firm, and it would go to the council at that point to approve a recommended firm to do the work. I do say now cautiously that when it hits the council, depending upon when it does, that it would be contingent upon funding. Again, this year, right now, 2025 was not even, we knew we weren't going to make the window in that one. We knew it right from the start. But we applied for congressional directed spending grants. They did not come through. We've engaged in some private-public partnership discussions, which we're going to keep because they're an ongoing process to ourselves at the moment. And we are going to the budgeting process. And once the permit is issued and we get responses to the RFP, we'll have a pretty firm number of what this project could potentially cost. So we have to consider that during the period of time that we are preparing the budget, which we're doing now. Any questions? I'm sure there are.
So the very earliest this is going to happen is next October. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct.
Okay.
I think it's a good goal to have in mind, and I appreciate actually that this discussion is happening now, especially as we're going into budget season. All these different projects that, and I know, having worked with you guys, that we want to be able to do everything and help everyone, but it's definitely, more beneficial to have these conversations ahead of time and going into budget season. So I really appreciate the rundown, and I know that the town will appreciate these updates as well. Just a quick question in regards to where we are on the timeline and managing expectations. I understand once we get the final approval, then we will send out the RFP to explain exactly what it is that we're asking for them to do. Where are we in our understanding of how long we can expect to get that final approval before? And you may not know the answer.
We have not, the town has not done it before.
Yeah.
And they are not going to commit to exactly when they will get back to us with the permit once they review it, but I can't anticipate it being too long. I don't want to put a date on it because
Right.
they haven't provided one to us.
And just so we're all understanding clear, we're just waiting on FOF at this point.
No, we sent the two responses, the responses for the two of the items was actually, like I said, it was sent out today.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, John had it completed, the town engineer had it completed, but he waited till I came back from vacation so I could review it with him and sign off on it before we submit it because it is an official document as a component of the application.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm glad to know that the wheels have been churning and it sounds like we're really there. And then once we get word back, we'll be able to send out the RFP. And based on just initial conversations, it sounds like it will be, a lot of people will be jumping at
We're
this.
getting very close to the finish line
Awesome.
for the permit. Once we have the permit,
Right.
I think we'll get quite a few responses from the RFP. The hurdle will be the funding. We know that. And I would like to, John, the town engineer, is tasked with quite a bit between managing the back and forth with Forth Engineering on the Narrow River project. John is also deeply involved in the town hall renovation project, the wastewater treatment project,
Yeah.
Stormwater drainage project.
Yeah.
And he's got a full plate, and he's doing a fantastic job.
I couldn't speak more highly. If there's a drainage or dredging issue, John's the go-to guy, and can't even underestimate how thankful and grateful we are for your service to the town of Narragansett as well. We understand that we've thrown a lot at you over the last couple of years, and managing the inbound from residents as well has just been very much appreciated, so thank you.
And he's got a tremendous group of staff that work with him over there in that office in engineering.
Excellent. And same sentiments all around. Councilor Torrialde, you have a question?
Jim, what was the date range you said that dredging could be performed in? October what to
October
what?
15th to January 31st.
January
31st.
31st?
And these are dates provided by,
That's Army Corps of Engineer.
yeah.
And what's the reason behind those specific dates? Is it just that it's the off-season? I mean, it's the heart of winter there.
It has nothing to do with the town of Narragansett, but
I believe it has to do with the piping pullovers at the end.
I'm
And
not,
you're-
I'm not sure exactly why they choose those dates. Do we know, John? Yeah, the nature
Okay.
habitat. The birds that nest on the ground.
Nesting grounds. Yeah.
Okay. You had mentioned water level monitoring. Could you just reiterate that section, please? Is that what the Army Corps of Engineers is engaged on, or what is that?
CRMC, let me see here on this one here. CRMC sent a letter to the town and requested the water level monitoring plans and the planting plans for the site of the dredging, and those have since been provided.
Got it. Okay. And what do we need the Army Corps of Engineers to do?
The Army Corps actually approves I believe they're the final one on the process, so very close to it, along with the habitat people like the Fish and Wildlife. They approve the final permit. They sign off on it.
Okay. So we don't need them to actually do anything? It's just the review of all submitted materials for the permit coming from them?
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions or comments on this? I know we'll be talking more about this going into the budget season as well, but, again, Councilor Durkin and I wanted to make sure that this was something that was not falling through the cracks, that we were being as transparent with the public as possible about where we are in the process, and, continue to invite the public into the conversation as often as possible. If anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. With that, is there anyone here, I know there's a lot of you here, anyone here in attendance who has a question or comment on this item? Seeing none. There will not be a vote taken on this, as this was just a discussion item. So we will move on to item C2. Is there a motion to discuss the possibility of creating a charter review commission for the town of Narragansett in accordance with Article 13, Section 8 of the Rhode Island Constitution?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Discussion. So this is another item that Councilor Durkin and I put on as a motion to discuss the possibility. It's not a discussion that will lead to a vote this evening either, but Councilor Durkin, I think I'll pass it off to you to give a soundbite, since you were a big driver of this idea.
Thank you, Alex. I participated in the council before, and after I was gone for a couple of years, there was a charter review commission that was elected or appointed, and I remember sitting on that with, actually, Mike Riley was the president of that commission. We honored him tonight. He did a good job, too. There's a number of things that come to my mind, that make me think that we may need to review our charter. So I put this out here, and obviously, we've talked a little bit, got some suggestions from staff and solicitors and stuff like that. But I think it's good that we're having this conversation. So the recall that happened, twice in the last year, once it didn't work, and then the second time it worked, was something that, I feel that shouldn't happen again to future councils the way it is written. Even though that may not be a charter review condition, like maybe you don't have to do a charter review to change that ordinance or referendum or whatever it is that, created that mess. Not that it should be eliminated, but I think it should be a shorter period of time. It should be for a more definitive purpose, not just any purpose. And I thought a charter review would address that. But since then, I've learned that it can be done in a simpler fashion, maybe the fashion of how it was created. I guess it was created by referendum, by signatures. So I guess that would be something that this council would have to determine if they want to take on and try to change that language. I also think that the zoning issues that have come up and have been created over the past, 5 or 6 years, maybe even a little bit longer than that. But it seems like in the last 5 or 6, maybe 2 or 3 councils have created a, very uncomfortable situation for a lot of people in Narragansett. And I actually feel like the people should not have to worry about that as much as they do now. People don't read the newspaper as much anymore, if anything. Everything is kind of like, we're a fast-moving community, and people just trust government to do what is best for their constituents. And I think things have gotten a little astray with the zoning process in Narragansett. So anyway, we're trying to straighten some of the stuff out, but there's still obstacles to us that are uncomfortable to us as a council. And I thought that the zoning that was passed, that was like townwide zoning, it just seems like it was passed too easily. And it may, in the future, I would think that there's some thought to, maybe put that into let the people vote on what our discussions are and stuff like that. So that's why I put it out there. That's one of the things that has bothered me, where I think it has to be talked about at a different level, and the nonpartisan thing that we keep kicking around, that's something I think in our charter that would have to be taken care of through the charter. That might be a referendum too. I'm just putting these hot topics out there, and maybe, after I put my thoughts out there, we can have, maybe the town solicitor tell us exactly how it handles legally and stuff like that. So whereas nonpartisan, we have a problem with the sale of property. I think a couple of these things happened through the library process, so I think there was some referendums for the library selling of the property, and that has impeded the town in doing different things with fixed, assets, trucks, cars, and I think they might have straightened that out by now, but and we need to look at that. The other thing was 2-year terms for council people. I think we should look at that. It just seems like 2 years, it's like, you know, it was a year ago, we got elected, and now it's like, we got to start thinking about what if we're going to run again or whatever. It just seems like a short period of time. Maybe we want to look at that a little bit. And then there's one item that if we wanted to like expand the planning board, there's some language in there to, that only allows us to have 5 members. So it was told to me that that could only be done through the charter. So state law allows you to have 7. The zoning board has 5 members with 2 alternatives. The planning board has always had 5 members, and if they had 2 alternatives, then if one is sick or somebody is not able to make a meeting, there's an alternative, and also those alternatives are listening and getting prepared for a full seat when the irregular seats happen. So, I mean, those are the things that I was thinking about that actually, you know, made me, you know, I've been talking about this for a while, and it might be too late for this term to get it started. Something in my eye, I don't know what it is. But. And so maybe Jim could just, Jim Callahan could just, you know. Did you write them down? I didn't.
Yeah, no, I think I
Okay.
have some idea of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Just for some clarity, I think a couple of things you mentioned were part of voter initiatives, where voters went out door to door, library, got signatures, and then it was placed on the ballot based on that proposal. And there's a provision in our charter that says the only way something like that can be changed is through the exact same process.
So that would be what, the recall, Jim?
It would be, just in my memory, nonpartisan. That was like in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Sale of property, that was in the late 2010s. The recall petition was somewhere around 2020. Those type of things, we can research what were voter initiatives. But those type of efforts can only be amended by a voter initiative effort again.
So recall, nonpartisan, sale of property?
Right, those are the 3 I thought of immediately. There may be
Yeah.
more.
And that means gathering signatures. Somebody would have to put a petition together, gather
Exactly.
signatures to get it on the ballot.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
people-
the idea was that if the voters go forward and get that process done, they don't want the council who's elected next time just say, hey, we're going to reverse that. I assume that's the thought process. And then I have to research this a little more just to make sure, but I'm not positive whether charter amendments can be proposed simply by you 5 on your own, or whether a commission needs to be appointed. I don't know that yet. I'm looking that up as we speak. I thought I had the answer, but I had some second thoughts as you were speaking, Jim. So I'm looking into that more in depth, and I'll provide an answer as soon as possible.
So you're talking about an amendment?
Right, any other amendment that you propose, be it the staggered terms, anything else that wasn't part of a voter initiative.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be surprised, very surprised, if you find out that a town council member can make a proposal for an amendment to the charter without a commission.
Yeah.
I think that would be scary
Right.
if
Either
such
way,
flexibility
either way, it
was.
still has to go before the voters in the ballot.
Right, okay.
That's the,
I see what you're saying.
that's the,
So instead of having to gather signatures, it would be like an initiative sponsored by a town council person who was elected by the people to then, send it off to be voted on at a later time.
correct. It'd be
Okay.
part of the election down the line.
Is there any mandate to a time period when a charter should be reviewed?
Some towns have that, like a decade, 10 years or so. We do not.
Do you know the last time our charter was updated or reviewed?
2010, 12?
2012.
But the commission was probably appointed.
2010, we initiated the thing. It took, I don't know if that was a year and a half or a
Yeah.
year, and the dates were,
Yeah.
but
The commission
it didn't seem
process
like it
takes a
took that long. I was on it. It didn't seem long, but.
Yeah, the commission process takes some time because if you're in the commission, you basically set up a bunch of meetings and go through the charter almost line by line and say, is this good, is this not, do you want to change? Unless you have specific ideas, but I think the better way to do it is to go, step by step, one through whatever many steps.
That's what we
there are.
did. We did, I think we did 4 or 5 pages every meeting,
Yeah.
and,
So since was on the agenda, I looked up a couple of things also, and Providence, Newport, and Burrville do their charter every 10 years, and Warren and Tiverton do their charter every 6 years. So they have a process of making sure that it goes through that. Most other towns do it, within a time frame of when they look at the charter and realize that the charter probably needs to either have something added to it, amended, or, whatever. And so, but there's some towns that have a time frame that they actually follow, and there's other times that just do it when they need to have it done. I too, once I saw this on the agenda, I took the opportunity to read through the entire charter. I read it one other time, and I just went through it, and there's some things that Jim spoke of that I too, just pointed to, that I said, okay, this might be something we might want to look at some point, or figure out and ask the solicitor, and Mr. Callahan, exactly what the process is. But I think there are some things, I think the time frame has come where it's probably within the time frame where we should look at it. I'm not so sure if it has to be something, like he said, that our term is coming almost close to an end. We only have a year left. It might be something we could start, but I think however, I think that it's something that either we or the next council really should be looking at to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very important. I appreciate, actually, Councilor Durkin. I know I co-sponsored it with you, but you really were the driving force behind this agenda item. I think it is important that we're having these conversations. I do disagree from the commission side of it, based on what my conversation with James has been, is just the enormity of the undertaking and the concern in regards to the timelines. So I do have some reservations, because it does sound like, while I agree that these are all topics that should be discussed, I just have concerns about how realistic it is to be able to tackle a lot of these, because I think a lot of discussion needs to happen on some of these, and I do agree that some of them should and can and should be voter initiatives, and I think that's a realistic thing. Going into this next election, I think some of the topics that you've brought up, I think, can certainly find their way through a voter initiative onto the ballot in November. But in general, again, I think I support this conversation. I don't know if it's realistic with where we are now in the term to go through the process of setting up a commission, but I think it is very important that we're bringing awareness to the town, the residents, that these are issues that are being talked about, whether or not we're the ones up here who are sitting up here, but there are many residents within our community who express these concerns, and we found out later on that a lot of them are only able to be addressed through voter initiative or through a charter review. So I think it's, again, we're here at the start of a new year, so I think it's very much appreciated that this conversation is happening, and to recognize there are some limitations out there that prevent us from going full steam ahead. And I appreciate the dialogue and the collaboration and everything that our solicitor has shared with us.
So can I ask a question? So, James, to the voter initiatives, how many can you put at a time? Like, is that something that the voters, it would go on an election? So like in November, you could put 1 or 2 things on there? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I think
And then I'm just sorry, let me just finish. And then amendments are handled differently? Can you just explain the difference?
Well, let's just take the recall, for instance. There's a lot going on in town back then. a group of people decided to get enough signatures to put it before you as the council, and it went on the ballot. In that instance, if it's a voter initiative, the council really has no choice. They have to put it on the ballot. That's the point of the voter initiative. The difference is with a charter commission, even though they propose something to you, the council can say, we don't want to put that amendment or that proposed amendment on the ballot. So I did some looking in the meantime since we last spoke a minute ago, and I think you can, as the council, propose charter amendments, and then the five of you had to vote on it, whether to put it on the ballot or not, then the people would vote on it at the election. So the buck sort of stops with you in terms of your proposals and commission proposals, but not voter initiatives. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, no matter what you do, it's going to go to the voters anyway?
Correct.
No matter whether it's an amendment or it's okay, that's what I wasn't sure about. Perfect. Thank
So
you.
the amendment is an easier way of getting to the point, and the people still get to vote on it.
Oh, yes. You cannot change the charter on your own as a council.
Right.
Ordinances, yes.
Good.
Charter, some ordinances, yeah.
I just, not, whether or not we disagree.
Else have any other ideas?
Oh, I will. And not to say that we disagree on this, but I think the charter is like our constitution here in the town, and I think it's very important to note that it's not designed to be amended so easily, that there are proper protocols and channels that need to go through in order to update it based on the times in which we're living. That's why different cities and towns have designated 6 years, 10 years to review the commission. Does anyone else have any other ideas or topics? You know, this is a very broad agenda item intentionally, so that if there's any issues that you think, reflecting on the first year of our term, that you think ought to be a voter initiative or something that could be discussed at a later time regarding the charter, feel free to share.
I don't have anything necessarily in particular, but I think irrespective of where we are in the term and where we are in the year, I think this is something that should be initiated, given that it's been 15, 16 years since the last update. I would also, propose an amendment to have a, every 10-year review, or, time amount to be determined, simply because it shouldn't be, at the whim of the council as to when it should be done. I think it should be done on a, not annual, but on a rotating basis, I suppose. Simply because government documents are living documents and they should be reviewed. Yeah.
Anyone else?
So as far as like the issues that I went through and I looked at and that I think really do need to be amended or in some way changed, and I think for the good of all of Narragansett and future councils. I think when you look at a charter, you're not looking at this particular council, we're looking to the future, and what every council from this point on is going to be dealing with. And I think the recall was really something that, I know in the state charter, they have a recall provision, which would supersede, or would, if we didn't have anything in ours, it would be what we would be looking at. And I know it says, it states that, recall for people who are indicted or informed against a felony, conviction of a misdemeanor, or against someone, I should put my glasses on, I do this all the time, who a finding of probable cause of violation of the Code of Ethics has been made by the Ethics Commission. It's very specific to someone doing something I don't believe it should be used just because people disagree with the point of view of the council. And I think that
Can you just clarify where you're reading from?
Oh, I was reading that from
Just for anyone on the public.
the state charter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I just put notes in here, so I don't have it exactly. But anyway, so I think, we as a town need to look at that and say, you know what, for future councils, I would never want another council to have to endure what we went through just because, of a situation where someone disagrees with your opinion. And I don't think that that's fair to the council. I think it delays things. It stops the council from moving forward and doing what they're trying to do. And I think, so that's something we should look at. And that's part of the reason why I think we should do a revision. I also think personally, this is my feeling, I believe that when a voter goes to the poll, I believe that they should know whether the person they're voting for is a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. I think it's their right to know what their affiliation is. Personally, I think that, and I don't see a reason why there cannot be any distinction on a ballot. And so I do think the nonpartisan and partisan, and again, maybe I don't know the whole history behind it, but in my personal feelings as of this moment, I don't believe that there's any reason why a voter going in should not know where the person stands, what their affiliation is. If it's independent, that's fine. If it's Democrat, that's fine. If it's Republican, that's fine. But that's my feelings. And that's just another thing that caught my eye.
No, and again, we're not going to necessarily debate any one particular issue. No, I did. I appreciate that feedback. One thing I will say on the nonpartisan thing, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, just while we're on the topic here, and I don't want to get too far off, is I think one reason to take into consideration is if you get, I think you can only have a maximum of 10 individuals on a ballot for party affiliation, and if it's more than 5 or something, there's a primary to whittle it down to X number of candidates. So if both parties are represented, you'd have a primary for the Democratic candidates to whittle it down to 5, and the Republican candidates who have the same amount of space allocated would be whittled down to 5 as well. Is that correct, or am I off on that?
I don't know. I don't know if
The
that's.
town committee, I think, puts their,
I'm not sure about that.
I think the town committee puts their endorsed candidates up.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, again, I'm not trying to get off, it's just something to consider. I don't know if we necessarily have the answers here, but I think that's just one reason that's been shared in the past.
And I'm sure every one of these issues could be debated, and we really
Yeah.
should be debated.
Yep.
And all sides should be looked at, and I think those are really good things to, to talk about, and that's why I think you need a commission to do that, to sit down and actually take every one of these issues and discuss it and debate each side of it and look at it from every single point of view. And so I think that's why you put together a commission.
I also think even in general, if again, if we're not going to do a commission because of the timing, but instead we had like other discussions, going into the year, like something similar to this, so that way we keep the discussion going. I think that way the public can remain engaged, and if there's a voter initiative, or if someone, out there wants to sponsor an initiative, and because we know, Mr. Win Hames is just one example of somebody who has had several attempts at voter initiatives in the past, and it does take time, but you get the signatures and you bring them before the town council, and then, as James has already said, it's required to go on the ballot at that point. And so I think that there are definitely some topics on here that can definitely be accomplished through voter initiative, even in this election cycle. So I think more to come here, and I've really appreciated the collaborative dialogue on this. Jim, this was your agenda item as well, so I think if there's anything else that you'd like to add.
Well, I just want to make sure, so so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items that I mentioned, and I can, repeat them again or tell you tomorrow or whatever. But how long would it take, Jim, do you think? You probably you just want to confirm the answer, right? Which way you'd have to go on each one. So, like, I think the recall, you said you need the SIGs, nonpartisan SIGs, sale of
Signatures.
property, signatures.
Just for the general public knows.
And then the zoning was a question mark, probably, or complicated.
Yeah,
The terms, question mark.
terms would probably be a proposal, just an amendment, not a signature
Yeah,
initiative.
okay. And then expanding of the planning board is that's probably an amendment, right?
Correct, yep.
Yeah, so, yeah, if you could just kind of get back to us with that, so we know as a council, and then, I guess, if we want to do something, then we'll talk about it further.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to know that this is not restricted to the town council, that anyone in the public can come
Oh, yeah.
forth
Oh, yeah.
and sponsor any one of these initiatives or come forth and have this, conversation. We would prefer, actually, I think, to not have to do the work on this if there's a resident or somebody who would like to take one of these initiatives up for consideration to do so. And again, I think there's a lot on there and a lot that needs to be talked about, and it does take time. So I think it's important that in your conversations with James, try to figure out, or maybe at a later discussion with the town council, maybe we can have a follow-up discussion regarding priorities or prioritizing that order, because I think there's a lot of debate that can be had on every one of them.
Yeah,
So-
good.
Last question I'll ask is if a voter initiative were to be filed with the town, how long do they have to get signatures? And then what is the deadline in order for it to make the ballot in November?
That's a good question. There's two types of potential ballot questions. Questions of statewide interest, those have to go to the legislature to get approval, like taxes, things like that. Or if it's just local, say it's like a drainage issue or a sewage issue, that's local generally. So that would not need legislative approval, just goes through you and then to the voters. But the signature period, I don't know off the top of my head, is it 60 days?
I think somehow I think it's 60, but
60 days to collect the signatures?
Yeah.
Or 60 days before the election and the
I think
deadline?
it's 60 days to collect the signatures. But
Okay.
I could be wrong.
You're probably
I have to
right.
check on that.
Oh, 120?
Oh,
Okay.
wow. That's a lot of days.
And then within 45 days, it has to go.
Right, I think you need,
Within 45 days,
Within 45 days, it
right, you need, it's a,
was 120, and then within 45 days, it had to go on the ballot, or get written up or something. I don't know, I remember 45 somehow.
okay.
and it's about at least 1,000 signatures, I think, is required, 12%.
The 45-day period is when somebody submits a voter initiative, it gets reviewed by the solicitor, and then it gets presented to the council to deem it valid or invalid, and that has to be done within
Okay.
45
I knew there was
days of
45
receipt.
in there, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And what is, Sarah, what is the absolute last deadline in order to make it to the ballot, would you say?
We just got our election calendar
Oh, okay.
for this upcoming season, so I don't know the date off the top of my head, but I want to say ballpark, it's sometime in August.
I think that's right, based on what I recall. I just didn't have the exact date in front of me.
Yeah.
But that's good. I appreciate the ballpark direction. Thank you. So would anyone in our audience like to ask any questions? Are you sure? You've been very patient. All right, so thank you to the town council for this productive conversation, and more to come here. So we'll move forth on the agenda. Is there a motion to award the bid for clothing cleaning services for the police and fire departments to the lowest bidder, Kingston Cleaners, Inc., at their quoted prices for a 3-year period ending December 14th, 2028?
Motion to award?
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to the Community Development Department is item E1. Is there a motion to award the bid for comprehensive plan update to the lowest bidder, Weston and Sampson Engineers, Inc., at their proposed price of $116,266.00, and to authorize the town manager to sign the contract after review by the town solicitor?
Motion to award, and I have a question.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Vignali. Discussion, Mr. Durkin, it sounds like you had a question.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if, I saw where there was only one other company that bid on this. Is this happen to be the same company that did our last comp plan review?
Who, the one that's getting?
The one that, yeah, the Sampson,
They did
Weston
not-
and Sampson.
They didn't have it last time.
No, they didn't have it the last time. All right, thank you. That was my only question.
Do we know the cost of the last comp plan update?
That's not included in the agenda item. I wouldn't have that. It would have been awarded so many years ago. I can look it up and get it back to you.
Okay, thanks.
I would imagine it's probably a little more expensive this time around, just as services
Inflation.
and costs go up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else on the council have questions? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to the engineering department is item F1. Is there a motion to approve the wireless communication tower antenna lease agreement with new Singular Wireless for AT&T communications equipment at the Point Judith water tank site, and authorize the town manager to sign the agreement after review by the town solicitor?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion.
I have a question. So, this has kind of doubled since the last time I remember talking about this. I think it was like 20,000, now it's 50,000. Is that all the antennas on that tower, Jim, or is that, there's a lot of antennas up there, is it? I mean,
Off the top of my head, I don't know which ones are which.
no, but I mean, do we get that much money, like, from, I mean, there's got to be 10 antennas up there or something, I don't know.
I think each one we review different contracts for over the course of time, and they all go up in price, so it's pretty significant.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. That's pretty good.
Want to open a new
Should get
business?
some more. All right, good job.
Any other questions or comments?
That's another John negotiation.
Oh, the
engineer.
other thing I was thinking, these drones, right, that they have? I see that they have drones now that sandblast and paint. So instead of, we should look into that, painting that friggin', water tower, because it just seems like it takes so long and it's so expensive. You can do it with drones now, But anyway, off track, sorry.
No, thank you for the colorful conversation. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none?
I'll second the drones.
Oh. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to item G1 from the Information Technology Department. Is there a motion to approve the annual renewal of the Mimecast email filtering and archiving services with Zones LLC in the amount of $23,045.68?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Anyone on the council have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Could they make it a little easier to use?
Yep, no, again, appreciate the efforts bringing this before us, and we know how tremendous job our technology department does for the services for the town of Narragansett, so thank you again. Happy to support this initiative.
For the record,
Yes.
this calendar year, The current system has rejected about just over 22% of emails as potential malware or hazardous to our system.
Really? And that's
22
just to my
22%.
inbox, right? No.
It certainly is, Alex. It certainly is.
How many did you say?
Oh, he said of the, if I'm quoting correctly, of the inbound that we've received for emails, 22% have been rejected for malware and spam and other reasons. All right, any other comments? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to the Building and Zoning Department is item H1. Is there a motion to approve the contractual agreement between the Town of Narragansett and James Mello to perform plumbing and mechanical inspections for the building official's office from January 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
Sarah, who are we giving that second to? Okay, thank you. Discussion, anyone have any questions or comments on this? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to item H2, is there a motion to approve the contractual agreement between the Town of Narragansett and James Harris to perform plumbing and mechanical inspections for the building official's office from January 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, any questions or comments from the council? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. On to the town clerk is item I1. Is there a motion that the town council president reappoints/appoints 3 individuals to the Narragansett Historic District Commission for a 3-year term set to expire on January 1st, 2029?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. So I'm just pulling it up real quick here. Just want to make sure that I'm articulating this correctly. So I would like to reappoint Mr. Keith Lescarbeau and reappoint Eileen Gilroy and appoint Jennifer Gibson. Did I do that right?
Almost.
Oh.
So it would be appointing Eileen Gilroy to a full member seat. She's currently an alternate.
Yes.
So reappoint Keith Lescarbeau,
Yes.
appoint Eileen Gilroy to a full member seat,
Yes.
and appoint Jennifer Gibson to a full member seat.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Do you need a second?
I don't believe so, but I still have a note here that we need to vote on it. Is that true? I don't think so. I think I just appointed them. Okay, thank you. So then on to item I2, is a motion to confirm the appointment of Mr. Rupert Friday to the Coastal Access Improvement Committee as the Planning Board representative for a term set to expire on March 1st, 2028.
Motion to confirm.
Second.
Discussion. So Mr. Friday has already actively participated in, I think, 3 Coastal Access Improvement Committee meetings. The Planning Board nominates, I think, actually not nominates, designates which of their members they would like to have as their liaison to each committee that they are on. And I would say that Mr. Friday has already proven to be a tremendous asset to that committee already. So fully support his appointment. Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And now we hit the executive session portion of our meeting. Is there a motion to retire to executive session of the Town Council in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A5 to discuss possible acquisition of real property and in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5 46-5A2 for the purpose of litigation, Struck versus Town of Narragansett Zoning Board of Review, WC-2024-0469.
So moved.
Second.
And we will take a roll call vote. Counselor Torialde?
Aye.
Counselor Colonies?
Aye.
Counselor Durkin?
Aye.
Counselor Vignali?
Aye.
And Counselor Menzies, aye. Thank you.
We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here pretty early.
Make it notes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, can we end the meeting?
All right. Ready, Dan? Thank you. All right, so the town council has returned from executive session, and the only votes that were taken was a motion to seal the minutes of the January 5th, 2026 executive session, which passed 5-0, and a motion to exit and return to open session, which also passed 5-0. Is there a motion to adjourn at 8:49 PM?
Motion?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.